for us, this is a unique moment because it signals our intention to really try to claim our destiny. We have an opportunity that, however, must be premised on getting not to know about each other, but to know each other. And there's a big difference. Knowing about each other means that we are likely to continue our habits to trade north. Knowing each other means that we're likely to take down the walls and to begin to understand the values and the challenges that confront each of us, and by extension, to see the entrepreneurial opportunities that may be available to build prosperity among our people. And it can't just simply be about providing jobs. It has to be also about economic enfranchisement, creating a basis for ownership among our people, because that is the only way it is going to be sustainable. I listened here this afternoon, and my brother Andrew Holness is here as well from Jamaica, and he will tell you that for us in the region, we have a slightly different problem, because we have a Caribbean community that was established in 1973 that settled on a single market and single economy as an objective in 1989, but that has been constrained not as a result of the ability of governments to set the legal constructs, but effectively because we've not been able to produce enough, quick enough, in a way that allows growth to come more seamlessly to us. And when you start to examine the reasons, what is it? What is the oxygen that's needed? You need people, you need access to finance, you need access to training. But the fundamental issue of access to people, and those from the Caribbean are probably tired hearing me say so, but for you here in Africa, I need to repeat it. In Suriname, we have a country with 580,000 people that is the size of the Netherlands, that has 17 million people. In Guyana, which is the size of England, Scotland, and Wales, we have a country that has 800,000 people, but with a population that is nowhere near England, Scotland, and Wales of 66 million people. In Belize, it is 400,000 roughly, and it's the size of Israel at 8 million. So, and Barbados and Jamaica are a little better off in terms of the numbers, but when you compare us to a Singapore or to others in the developed world, our population numbers are still down. And parcel of the difficulty is that we have to find ways to manage migration more effectively in order to be able to create the dividend that you want to benefit from here as a result of the increases in your numbers of young people. Now, why is it important? Because whenever we leave here, we leave and we're going north. We're not going west, and we in the Caribbean not coming east. And it is a nonsense, because if I told those of you who were interested in banking and finance that we have a serious problem in the region with correspondent banking and de-risking, and the fact that ordinary members of our society are finding it difficult to even just open a bank account, then what has happened here in Kenya with the Equity Bank may well now be a model to happen in CARICOM, because you have been able to use the virtue of trust to broaden the base of participation and access to finance in this country in a way that the Caribbean community is crying out for, rather than being hostage to a few international banks that are not responding to our domestic needs and development challenges, but are responding to one-size-fits-all prescriptions that are being imposed upon it from the North Atlantic countries. If I told you that the Prime Minister of Jamaica and myself are looking for investment in tourism and for people to be able to participate in the ownership of hotels, even if you don't have the brands, then you may more willingly look at opportunities in the Caribbean community than you have hitherto done. If I tell you that we have an international business platform that acts as a hub for you to be able to engage in and with the rest of the world, and that it is anchored by double taxation agreements and bilateral investment treaties that protect your investment, you may wonder, why haven't you been before? So that these things are critical if we are going to move the pace and depth of business opportunities within the South among Africa, Caribbean, and Pacific countries. Regrettably, we have made this a government project only. And I say so conscious that this is not for me about government or the private sector, because I am a strong and firm believer that the state has to be an entrepreneur in our part of the world, because unless the state opens up certain activities where the private sector is extremely risk averse, it will not happen. And unless the state takes on risk, particularly in research and development, it will not happen. So what are the other opportunities? We are in a climate crisis. You here in Kenya have felt it this week with your floods. And I offer our sympathy to those families who have been dislocated or who have lost members as a result of the floods. But we live it every day now. And we just finished, less than a week ago, our hurricane season. But what is the news? We are 6.5 months away from the next hurricane season. That is now our continued reality. Our ancestors, our grandparents and great-grandparents did not have the luxury of getting ready. They had to be ready and be resilient. As a result, there are opportunities in the blue economy, the green economy, changing how we build houses, changing how we respond to restructuring our economy, and moving away from a heavily driven fossil fuel economy to one that depends more on our natural attributes, be it the sun, be it the water, be it the wind. And why are we moving and looking north for investment when we ought to be looking at each other to better mobilize the domestic liquidity that we have in each other's country, invest in each other's country to diversify our investments so that we're not exposed only to our own peculiar challenges as nation states? We need, therefore, to see a level of transatlantic investment and trans-Pacific investment within the ACP to help us move from fossil fuel-free economies to one where we have greater control and to allow for renewable energy, as well as conversion of our transport sector. What is our reality? That we are being told that if we want to move to electric cars, we have to wait in the line because the car manufacturers are going to satisfy the needs in Europe first and North America before they start to look at us. So where are the opportunities within Africa for the establishment of manufacturing plants that are looking to create and build the electric or hybrid cars that are needed to power the South? And who and why are we not working in a cooperative manner, leveraging both capital, human and financial, from all three regions in order to build out whatever industries we are building, whether here, there, or in the Pacific? And I say so, for example, with tourism and the creative economy. The Caribbean has a mature relationship in managing tourism product. Why aren't Jamaican and Barbadian chains establishing in Africa in tourism? Why are we not equally having the African agricultural diversification that Kenya has seen? Why is Kenya and other countries not leading with respect to that in the Caribbean, particularly in a country like Suriname and Guyana that have huge, and Belize, that have huge agricultural potential, and in the case of Suriname is one of the top 5 freshwater sources in the entire world. So my friends, the opportunities are great, but we don't know each other. We know about each other. And the only people who can change that is ourselves. It's not an easy thing because human beings tend to stick to what they know. But we need to step outside of the comfort of our familiar and to recognize that we're actually more alike than we think because we come from the same values, the same people, the same everything. It's just that we've allowed the sea and others to separate us. I believe that a few people must lead the way because success is a habit. And if the gentleman in front of me, who has taken on the challenge of creating 10,000 entrepreneurs in Africa, Tony, believes that Africa should not be the limit of his horizons, and if there are others like him who can do the same, then I think that you and Chris, who I met yesterday, can be the people who help create the bridges to allow people to move and share experiences. Without the sharing of knowledge and information through television and social media, and without the bridges for air and sea to move people and goods, this will be a continuous academic exercise. Thank you.